What is up, y'all? Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. We, of course, are the Alternates. I am your host, Brian Cullen, and with me, as always, is everyone's favorite, the man with no schedule.
Fuck, you don't know how real that is.
We're running with it, though.
That's the realest one you've ever said on this show.
The scheduleless man.
Yeah, that's really me.
I know, I'm always like, last minute, hey, dude, you want to like meet up and do something? Yeah, sure. You're the only friend I have that I know that I can call, and most times you're available to talk. Which actually means a lot to me, if we're being real. If we're going to drop the joke for a second, means a lot.
Is it because I really care about you, or is it because I have way too much free time on my hands? That's for the audience to decide.
Yeah. You're not here to help. You're just here. Well, you're helping your own boredom.
Absolutely.
You're like, oh, this guy's always a train wreck. This will like be some entertainment for the day. Well, it's good to see you.
Good to see you, Brian.
Thank you all for being here. We took the last week off. I will own that one. Needed some much overdue rest and relaxation, which really wasn't rest and relaxation.
No.
I got sunburned, heat stroke, and just needed to recover from that. But we're happy to be back. Thank you all. Before we jump into today's episode, I want to take a quick second, ask you all to subscribe to the show on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Go ahead and like the video, drop us a comment. If you're listening to the show, leave us a rating and review. All of that goes a long way in helping us out. And the most important thing is to share the show. All these things help us with the algorithm so that we can continue to grow this and so that people just like you can find us. If you want to get a hold of us, you can do so by emailing us, thealternatehoop@gmail.com. And go ahead and follow us on TikTok at The Alternates NBA. Clayton, how the hell are you?
You know what? I'm good. Watched a little WNBA last night. Baseball season is hot right now, dude. It's hot right now. So obviously I'm watching that. But no, WNBA started up last night. That was a fun thing to pop into.
Yeah.
We won't get too deep into it here, but the Aces are looking like this could be the year.
They're beast.
This could be the year for them.
I'm pulling for a Liberty upset.
I'm also pulling for a Liberty upset. Sabrina is probably the most unique player, I think, in the W right now. Is that fair to say? She
has the most potential of any player that I've seen since like maybe Candace Parker that will take the W to like the next step.
She does everything.
Yes.
You know, she does it all, and she's
got the star power. Like I really think that like she could be a huge, like, I don't know, catalyst in making the W bigger and getting it to that next level.
I don't disagree, because even like I just said, the Aces, you know, Asia Wilson, probably the best player in the WNBA right now.
Yeah.
But she doesn't have the ball in her hands as much as someone like Sabrina, right? And I think when we think of these star players in basketball, you know, you think of your Ja Morants, your Steph Currys, your Kevin Durant's, the LeBron James, the guys who have the ball in their hands. So I agree that she has that potential to be someone that could, and the team has underperformed, I think it's fair to say, since she's been on, or they've been, you know, mediocre. But
I mean, she was a piece of a rebuild, so
absolutely, and the future looks bright for them, and it looks like they have a chance to be an early upset and at least make some noise. And I think that alone would bring some attention to the Liberty, and you know, some exciting stuff for New York basketball for sure.
Maybe they will actually move them back to New York City if this happens.
That would be nice.
Still can't get over the fact that they fucking did that, dude.
There's a lot going on with the W. The 3-game series where the higher seeded team has the first 2 games, and then the lower seed has the third game, which would be the deciding game if one of the games is lost. That's a tough.
Like your entire first round is the play-in tournament.
Literally, you have to win the 2 games at home. You have to win the 2 games at home. So a lot of pressure for these higher seeds.
Yeah. Could make for some entertaining games, like game 3s where...
Oh, I mean,
I love the pressure that
Liberty game, that next Liberty game is must-watch TV.
Yeah.
We got to see, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad you're getting to enjoy that a little bit.
Yeah, so that's all good. And overall, you know, life's good. It's hot as hell out here in California.
It is.
You got a heat stroke or whatever.
Yeah, and I'm wearing a hoodie right now, so I'm just begging for another one. We were had the AC blasting before we pressed record, so it does not feel as warm in the studio right now as it does outside. I've got an interesting. So last night, I've been picking up some work, filming comics and working with them, producing some stuff. And I got hired to do a really awesome show last night. A comic from New York, Sam Morrell, was in town. He's doing a couple shows in LA while he's here. And I was filming that at the end of the night. Everybody cleared out, packed up all of my gear, got all my stuff ready, and was ready to leave. And I walk out of the showroom, which is kind of, it's separated from kind of the main bar of this venue. And I walk into the main bar. It's a Wednesday night. It's pretty dead.
Where are you?
At the Bourbon Room in Hollywood, like right off of the Walk of Fame. Like prime,
like it couldn't be more dead ass Hollywood.
Yeah. Like prime, the sightseeing tour vans everywhere, like Hollywood.
Yeah, sad Spider-Man walking home.
Yeah, exactly. Right there, I walk out. There's again pretty empty bar. It's a fucking Wednesday night,
Yeah.
Unless you have
it's a school night. School's back.
Unless you've got an irregular schedule, like you work retail or something like that, or something's up that your family might need to address soon. You're probably not hanging out at a bar in Hollywood on a Wednesday night. But I did notice there were 3 guys standing there when I walked out in the bar. One of them was a very tall individual, and he turned and I immediately saw his face, and it was Yakka Purdle. Wow. Hanging out at the Bourbon Room on Hollywood Boulevard on a Wednesday night.
Wow. That's quite a sighting, man.
Yeah.
That's a fun one.
It's fun because it was like such an NBA like nerd moment.
You gotta know the NBA to be able to. I mean, it's a 7 foot tall guy, so obviously he looked like somebody.
For sure. People were probably like, it's probably like a volleyball player or something.
Yeah, some Olympian of some kind. Yeah.
But like, is there a more random starter in the NBA than Yakka Purdle to like run into?
I like that qualifier because there's more random guys in the NBA,
but a starter,
but a legitimate starter who like got all-star votes.
Yeah,
like a pretty good player. He's got to be up there. You're right. That's a very funny one. Did you catch what he was drinking? I'm always curious.
I didn't. So he was with 2 of, I'm assuming, his friends, who looked like small children, but they were my height. It's just like Yakka Purdle's huge.
And you're what, 4'9",
4 foot, even.
Got it.
In shoes.
Yeah.
No, but they were like leaving. So I actually, because I was walking out, you have to go down these stairs, like a 2nd story venue. And they walked down the stairs in front of me. So they didn't have drinks. They were either just finishing up or they walked in and were like, nah, let's go somewhere else. I don't know exactly how that worked. Yeah. But walked down and then they just went sauntering down Hollywood Boulevard. And I was like, I am so curious to know what the rest of the night looks like for Yakka Purdle in Hollywood on Wednesday.
Yeah, interesting night to be going out, but shout out to Yakka, man. Good for him.
Yeah.
It's off season.
Get it in.
What
if he just had like the camera around his neck? He walked out of the bar and got on one of those like the Star Tour buses.
Yeah, he has like his like Universal Studios pass hanging.
Exactly. A visor at night for no reason.
It's got like a Harry Potter staff. Wand.
Yeah, he did have a lightning bolt on his forehead, so that does make sense. But so we have some actual kind of NBA news to talk about.
You shitting me?
I am not shitting you, my friend.
Okay.
The schedule is released.
Yes.
I love this. This is like when it starts for me, right? Like, like we had our little high. I got a quick taste, just a little taste during free agency, which is pretty anticlimactic, I would say. A couple trades, some interesting moves.
Some teases.
Yeah, not as blockbuster as some of the previous years that we've seen.
I agree.
And so this has been the first the schedule is out. It's real. The season is
really
happening.
To look forward to.
So what I was thinking, this is going to be a schedule special. We're going to go through every team and their schedule, and we'll predict wins and losses.
For every team, every game. Yeah.
So strap in, folks. Here goes the next 4 hours.
Yep.
And then we'll get to the Eastern Conference. So no, we're going to go over just some of the like kind of highlights and you know, big moments that are on this schedule here.
They put out these big moments to get people excited for these big moments. So let's
damn did it work, dude.
Those bastards, they always get me.
I can't believe it's 49 days away or something, 48 days away.
Yeah.
From the start of the season. That's wild.
Yeah, and there's a lot to be decided out there in the world. So we'll get to it through these games.
This happened,
but like,
I don't know if you had this when this happened. It almost didn't feel like the end of last season was real. Like, and I'm not saying that in a way to like discredit the teams that were in the finals or the playoffs or like discrediting the Warriors. Like, not in any of that way at all. It just, and maybe it's just a personal thing. Like, it just felt like I was like, I know that it happened, but it was kind of like, it was almost like a different, maybe it was my mindset, but I was like, so just kind of okay with all of it that I don't have this like, gotta come back and you gotta, you know, like, let's see what it just felt a little, I don't know.
I think also the, couple of years of the COVID schedule, the schedule, being off, the sort of bizarre scheduling that they've had to do the last couple of years. Looks like we're getting a pretty typical schedule if you go back to 1918, whatever.
You're gonna dunk on me again?
So no, I didn't say anything.
Before we recorded, I looked at the opening date, which is the 18th of October, and I was like, that feels earlier than it normally is.
That's not right.
Yeah, doesn't it normally happen at the end of October? And then fucking Internet McGee over here pops up.
Just a quick Google search. just normal.
This old hacker over here got on the dark web
into the mainframe
and pulled up the 18 and 19 opening day.
It's like the
dates,
same
and
week.
they were the exact. Yeah, I was like, okay, fuck me.
It's just it feels weird to be back on the regular schedule. Honestly, it really does. So we're back. COVID's over.
Sure.
Right? Yeah. Whatever.
So let's start at the beginning.
Let's start at the very
opening
beginning.
night is the one. Got a doubleheader. Opening night. The first game is Sixers at Celtics. Do you like this as an opening night game? Like, this is the first game of the season. Is this what you would do you want to start the season off with this, or do you think that there's a better matchup that you'd rather see to like really go, it's on, like, let's go. I'm excited for this first one.
I think this is about as good as it gets. You got to have the Celtics. Obviously, they're the Eastern Conference champions of last season. I think you got to put them on the first game for an East Coast game, and then Sixers. I mean, they're always a story. They're so good for media and for narratives, and James Harden. Everyone's talking about he looks skinny. So it's going to be a huge talking point night one. Yeah. Chuck's going to be making fun of him on Inside. It's a classic this era opening night first game. I'm all about it.
I'm with you. I don't hate it. Part of me kind of wishes that it was Celtics Heat.
Why? I think there's more star power on the Sixers,
Yeah, but I mean, if
I was going to choose an Eastern Conference team, I'd go Bucks just because, Giannis.
Yeah, but it was decided in a game 7 who went to the finals in the East. To kind of bring that back and like, I'm sure that there's a lot on the Miami side of like Jimmy was hurt for a lot of that and, this and that. Like it would have been a fun, like, start the night off if the Heat win that game. It just creates this kind of narrative for like the rest of the year.
I think that's a good alternative. I think this one has the most blockbuster. How about that?
That's fair. I'll give you that. I totally agree with that. And then the second game of opening night is Lakers at Warriors.
I mean, come on. They knew what they were doing.
This is ring ceremony too.
This is ring ceremony. It's the Lakers, the biggest brand in the NBA. Yeah. This is a no-brainer. I mean, as much as the Lakers obviously have been a huge disappointment, it's LeBron James. There's a reason he's LeBron James. Yeah. You want to get him on here. There's not a lot of years left for LeBron, especially in this sort of post-prime but still prime kind of era for him. he deserves to get an opening night here versus the Warriors. I have no problem with it, even though obviously the Lakers were a big disappointment last season.
Yeah, I get it from that point of view, and look, historically, Lakers Warriors games in the Bay are pretty fun and wild. Like I'm not even talking about on court. It's just the Bay Area in general. Like, obviously, a lot of people have like really latched onto the Warriors in the last 6-7 years. Like, that's happened. But there's a massive Lakers fan base in the Bay Area,
right?
And so it's always a fun kind of fan experience when that happens.
Absolutely.
It just part of this, because the only narrative here, right? And that's really what it is. Opening night should always be some kind of narrative. These kind of like key games should be some sort of narrative. The only narrative here is LeBron and the Warriors. I mean, and that's that. Right. It just feels a little contrived. It's not like we're looking at Cleveland LeBron, LeBron's Cleveland team versus the Warriors. It's the Lakers and Warriors. Like, it's fine.
It's brand on brand, right? We have the two biggest brands of individuals probably in the NBA right now with Steph Curry and LeBron James. And then, two of the three biggest brands team-wise in the Lakers and Warriors. Sure. So, I'm with you. Could there have been a better basketball matchup? Yeah, I mean, I probably would have put Memphis here night one. Memphis and Warriors is sort of a nice budding rivalry. So, yeah, but it's LeBron James. He deserves it.
For sure.
I like it, honestly.
What if he sits?
That would be hilarious. That would be hilarious. I mean, everyone's curious to see this Lakers team too. I am.
I would be more into this if KD was on the Warriors, and then you've got Russ and KD. You've got that narrative in there like that. But I think that's kind of in the past. That's not really a big storyline anymore. But
I agree.
I get it. They're going to make some money there. All right. Christmas is the other one that always gets announced with opening night.
Yep.
I want to get your take on I'm going to go through the slate and then we'll kind of discuss this. Okay. The first game, which for us is at like 9 a.m, Sixers at Knicks. Mm-hmm. Then after that, it's Lakers at Mavs, Bucks at Celtics, Grizzlies at Warriors, Suns at Nuggets. How does this sit with you as a Christmas Day slate?
I'm confused about one thing when it comes to Christmas here. Every year, and I mean every year, and I'd have to really fact check myself on this one, but let's just say it's true.
I think I know where you're going with this, but keep going.
The goddamn Knicks get the first game every year on Christmas, and it's like, can this team earn it for once? Like, could we put another East Coast team? Can we give somebody some shine? Can we put LaMelo Ball on the first game? I mean, I just can't stand that the Knicks get the first game every year. I don't understand. I mean, I understand it from, again, they're a marquee brand. That's all this is about. Yeah. But from a basketball standpoint, it's just like, they're going to be better this year. Maybe this will end up being a good game. Maybe I'll eat my words on this one. But I'm so over the Knicks on Christmas.
I don't mind it because like it is like, for me, it's like tradition, right? I'm like, yeah, it's always the Knicks in the morning. Like that's fine. Sixers at Knicks, like, it should have been Mavs, because then you've got Jalen Brunson against his former team. Like, that would have been a fun matchup, I think.
That's interesting. I like that.
I think that would have been a lot of fun. Or fucking throw the Hawks back in there. Come on, give me some of that Trae Young in Madison Square Garden magic. Like, that's what I want to see. This just feels kind of random and like, okay, we'll put the Sixers in there. Like, it doesn't feel like it's going to be a good game.
I agree.
I don't, I could be wrong.
Exactly.
I'm wrong a lot.
Who knows?
But it was, and then I don't know, man. I don't love this Christmas slate. Like, Lakers at Mavs, okay, but like, why? Is it just LeBron and
Luka? Yeah, sort of a old new generation. I mean, that's an interesting matchup from that perspective. But yeah, I mean, same.
A lot of it feels random. Bucks at Celtics. Okay, I get that.
Classic Eastern Conference midday game.
Semifinals rematch. But like, this is where I thought you were going. And maybe I'm completely wrong about this, but I feel like maybe not every time, but most of the time, Christmas Day is usually a finals matchup, a rematch of the finals teams from the last season.
There was the 2017 after the 2016 Warriors Cavs.
Yeah.
Incredible Christmas Day game.
I would have loved to have seen the Warriors and the Celtics play on Christmas.
That would have been awesome. And I don't understand. Yeah, no, I'm with you. Yeah, I don't understand why they didn't do that again.
Yeah, I like that. That is the perfect middle game for Christmas.
Yeah.
I don't know, like that would have been so good. Everybody would be glued to that.
Yeah.
Everybody would want to see that. And then Grizzlies at Warriors, like fun. There's, the back and forth between Ja Morant and some of the Warriors players. That's the best matchup that they have
That's
here.
one to circle here because there's definitely something between those two teams. Not only have they played in the playoffs a couple times now, last couple years, there was the Iguodala.
Yeah.
He didn't want to play for them, blah, blah, blah. Ja Morant had some comments this summer. It's been going back and forth for quite a while. So yeah, that is the game that I'm circling on the schedule here. Suns at Nuggets.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you circled that one because who the fuck is watching this next game?
See, now what they should have done is if you're going to do Lakers and Mavs, I actually think they should have switched those two games.
100%.
You put the Lakers last, keep people, watching. And you put Suns and Nuggets, which is a good basketball game, probably.
That's like a basketball. That'll be interesting. But that's a basketball nerd game.
That's a nerd game, 100%.
You know what I mean? Like I'm like, why would you not put Luka and fucking LeBron as your headliner?
That's the Zach Lowe game. The
100%. That's the Zach Lowe game.
Zach Lowe game.
Absolutely.
No shade, Zach Lowe, but that's the Zach Lowe game.
Yeah, I mean that's like stats nerds are going to be watching that.
That's the defensive efficiency game.
Exactly. It's just that one just feels kind of like it just feels random. But like, hey. These are two teams that could be in the Western Conference Finals this year. You know what I mean? So who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
But it's just Phoenix and Denver, and I'm not taking away from those cities and those fan bases of those teams, but like the NBA is clearly going for the marquee, stuff on these big days.
Right.
And didn't the NFL like recently announce that they're going to start playing games on Christmas?
Yes.
So like maybe the NBA was like, well, we're getting fucking steamrolled. I guess we'll put the big ones early and try to compete. I don't know what's going on there. But like these aren't big market teams. And maybe this is good. Maybe this is a shift in kind of the culture of like, big markets aren't what they used to be and people are more interested. I would hope that that's what it is. I just don't think it is at this moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. The last little bit here on the scheduling highlights. So the NBA tweeted out a little image of the schedule additional highlights, as they called them. Some stuff that they wanted us to know about. They're kind of implementing some new things. And no, it's not a midseason tournament. 2022 Election Day is now a thing with the NBA.
Okay.
So on Monday, November 7th, all 30 teams will play the day before Election Day and encourage fans to make a plan to vote.
Okay.
No games will be played on the 8th, Tuesday, Election Day.
Okay.
I've got mixed thoughts on this.
Please, go ahead.
Look, I'm not saying it's not good to encourage people to go vote. I'm not saying that at all, right? Like, that's not... Get it. I might have whatever personal feelings about certain things, but, like, I'm all for you going to vote and, yes, that's fine. I don't what are you going to do to encourage fans to make a plan to go vote? And it's the day before too. I would love to see the people on the East Coast when 10:30 p.m. it's tipping off and they're like, oh shit, okay, now I'm going to make my plan for tomorrow to go vote. And then the no games on Election Day is also funny to me because it's like, you think low voter turnout is because people were at home watching NBA games? You think that that's what is?
That's my question on this. Now, look, to your point there, your first point, yeah, it's pretty hard to imagine that someone is turning on the Knicks and because Mike Breen told them to vote tomorrow that they've decided suddenly, actually, you know what? I will participate in this election. Very unlikely. It's a little performative, a little silly, but whatever.
Yeah.
That doesn't bother me. I don't really care. I do.
It doesn't hurt.
It doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. And I actually did think it was a really cool and smart thing for the NBA to encourage the teams to have all the arenas be a place that you can go vote at. Because people pay for these arenas. We pay for it out of our taxes most of the time.
Most of them, yeah.
So these should be for public use for things like
1000%.
Elections, things like that. But look, most of these games tip off after the polls close.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's literally not stopping anybody from voting. It's like, it's 8 o'clock at night. You know what I'd love to be doing? Watching a fucking basketball game, waiting for the results to come in.
I'd prefer, instead of doom scrolling on election night.
Can't wait to watch the stupid math guy on CNN break down county by county.
Yeah, and let me just sit here second by second with anxiety, figuring out which freedoms we're about to lose. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, no, give me a fucking basketball game, please.
I cannot stand my parents will absolutely be. Oh, I love the math guy. He's so great.
Yeah.
He breaks down. Like, I don't care.
I love this
tell
image,
me the result.
Young Gen Z, progressive woman sitting at home, and their whoever, roommate, partner, somebody's like, hey, this is a big election cycle. Roe v. Wade just happened. Like, there's a lot of stuff at stake here. You should get out and vote today. Like, you should go do that before the polls close. No, I can't. I'm watching. It could be fucking Christmas. I'm watching Nuggets Suns right now. I don't think I can go cast a vote. It's like, what are we doing here, dude? What are we doing?
Yeah, it's certainly performative and silly, but hey, whatever.
Just made me laugh when I saw that.
It's funny.
All right, so the next thing on this little image here,
docket.
This one, I think I love the idea of this NBA Rivals Week.
It's college football season.
Yeah. But I kind of do. I genuinely do think this is a really cool idea.
I actually think it's a cool idea too. Yeah.
So, and it's perfect for when it is, because it's during the week of January 23rd. That is like dog days of the NBA season. So I do love this to kind of bring a little bit more excitement in the doldrums of the NBA schedule. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a great idea. But this is what the NBA wrote on it is classic and budding rivalries between teams and players will highlight NBA Rivals Week during the week of January 23rd. NBA Rivals Week will feature 11 nationally televised games across 4 networks over 5 days from Tuesday to Saturday. And now here are the matchups. And this is what I want to get your take on, is these matchups. Do they qualify for you as either budding or classic rivalries? Boston and Miami, Clippers and Lakers, Brooklyn and Philly, Memphis and Golden State, Chicago and Charlotte, Dallas and Phoenix, Memphis and Minnesota, Toronto and Golden State, Denver and Philly, the Knicks and the Brooklyn Nets, and then Lakers Celtics.
Okay.
I think we can, that last one, yes. There's no question.
It's the rivalry of all rivalries.
It is the one.
Yeah.
Not even going to question that. Are there any here that are like odd to you, that feel weird?
I mean, unquestionably. Look, I think the one that's going to stick out to people, if you didn't look into it a little further, was the Charlotte-Chicago.
Right.
It's the Ball brothers.
The Ball brothers, right.
Right. And so they said that this rivalry thing could be between players, could be like they left it open-ended. They left an open thing about like it's not necessarily just the team versus the team. The different reasons for these. So I actually like that one. The Ball brothers are a huge draw and very, very fun. And if these two guys are both healthy, this will actually be a great game, I think. So
it could be really fun.
I'm all about it. But there's a lot on here that I think are weird, honestly. Like
Denver, Philly? How is that? What's that?
That's
the
exact
rivalry?
one I was going to. What rivalry? I mean, I think what they're doing on that one is Jokic and Embiid. Yeah. Again, a player rivalry thing. But like, they just both were really good last season. Like that's there was no moment.
I don't think Embiid ever
them.
said like Embiid was like I'm the MVP, but I don't think he ever said Jokic sucks.
I don't think he ever said a negative thing about him. So yeah,
I feel
that one's
like
odd to me.
If you're gonna do Denver here, make it Miami. The Marquise Morris, like when he,
sure,
Jokic bumped him off of the face of the planet. He may or may not have died for like 9 months. Like, that's one that I think would be a lot of fun.
Memphis, Minnesota's an odd one.
It is. Is it just the like kind of young team? Like I don't.
That one, I don't see a rivalry. I don't. Yeah, I mean, I guess two younger teams.
But I don't. That one's very random. Toronto Golden State is a fucking stretch. It's a stretch. Like
absolutely.
I get it. The 2019 finals, but first of all, that felt like eons ago. And that Toronto team maybe has 3 players left on it that were in that finals game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Pascal, Van Vliet, and who else? Who else would it be? That's kind of it. Like those are like the big hitters.
Yeah.
I don't.
Right.
Okay.
No Gasol. No Kawhi. Yeah.
It just no Powell. Like it just
OG, I guess. OG
Anunoby.
Yeah.
There it is. That was the third one. Good call. But yeah, that one's weird.
Yeah, I agree. And because you know what, when it's a rivalry, each team I feel like should feel like coming into this game like Golden State should feel like 2019, like we had them. We should have. I don't think Golden State fans feel that way. They're like, like we got hurt.
Yeah, everyone died on the court.
Yeah, like our players exploded after 5 years of going to the finals in a row. We kind of just lost. And Raptors fans are just like, we won. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
we won. Who gives a shit? It was the best.
Yeah.
So I don't think either fan base like feels spurned by the other or
no,
like.
If anything, Toronto fans hate Clippers fans because of Kawhi. It's like
which. That would have been fun.
Yes.
Clippers, Toronto, like
agreed.
Put Kawhi in Canada. That would be fun.
Yeah.
Lakers, Clippers. I mean,
sure. That's more for the fans than anybody else.
Nobody here cares, though. That's the truth. Nobody here cares.
The fans do.
You think so?
Yes. I think the fans absolutely care.
I don't think they do. I don't think it. I don't. They don't have a real rivalry to me. If anything, the Clippers' rival is the Warriors. In my opinion,
the Warriors, there's other, I think that there are better teams. I would have put the Clippers against Dallas. Considering
that's a really good one.
The first 2 rounds that they had, I mean, this last year excluded against Luka, those just battles that they had. Mm-hmm. I think that would make for a better budding rivalry because I don't think either of those teams wants to see each other in the playoffs ever again.
Sure.
And that would be super fun. Boston, Miami, I totally get. This is the rematch of the Eastern Conference Finals. I think that game would have been better served on Christmas or opening day. And then you put Miami against the Knicks. That's the classic rivalry.
90s.
That's the classic rivalry. That would have been fun. Let's bring that back a little bit. Yeah.
Are there any teams missing here to you that they just didn't get?
I mean, I would have done Brooklyn, Philly. James Harden, Ben Simmons, all of that. I would have done that. I would have even done maybe Brooklyn, Boston. Let's put Kyrie in the Garden. Let's see that again. Because the last time that game ended, it was heated. Let's watch that. I mean, classic. Why don't we put the Pacers in Detroit? But the NBA wants to get so far away from the Malice in the Palace. They want nobody remembering that.
Yeah, they don't want to touch that.
But, for me, that would be super fun.
I like that. And I was going to say, I think one thing that is missing from this is the young players. I would have liked to have seen, Orlando, Oklahoma City,
Great,
Houston,
love that.
One of these.
Make your rivalry.
Detroit, one of these younger teams that has some top picks. The Paolo thing could have been fun. I don't know if they would have really gone to this, but Hawks versus Magic, whatever that first game is going to be must watch just because of everything that's been going on. Right. So I do think they missed a little opportunity with that. Could we have gotten, like you said, Pistons on somewhere, get Cade Cunningham on TV?
Totally.
This would have probably been a good week for that, but they went with more established stars. They went with older players on this. That seems to be what they did with this rivalry week. I just wish they would have mix it in with some younger players.
Yeah, and I mean, to the Malice in the Palace thing, I think the NBA just needs to embrace it. Be like, yeah, it was fucking crazy. It happened. We don't ever want it to happen again. But there's no getting away from it. There's no, you're never going to bury that thing.
I like the idea of embracing it. Steven Jackson's the sideline reporter.
Totally.
Come on. It is what it is.
Get Steven Jackson and
Ben Wallace.
Totally. You get the two guys from opposite teams. That's your broadcast team right there for the game.
I mean, that's a rivalry.
Yeah, it would be super fun.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea. I love that. All right, last part here on the schedule highlights that we're going to talk about. It's not necessarily about specific games, but the NBA is very proud of itself with this year's schedule. So they made it a point to bullet point a couple of these things with the travel reduction. So, according to the NBA, estimated travel has been reduced to 41,000 miles per team, a record low in the era with 30 teams and 82 games per team.
41,000 miles per team. Okay.
Estimated travel has been reduced by a total of more than 50,000 miles from last season, nearly 2,000 miles per team.
Okay.
Instances with no travel between games for teams on the road have increased by 66% from last season. It went from 88 to 53.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big reduction.
It is. But like, okay. We're talking about miles. You're on fucking chartered airplanes, dude.
The miles is killing. 2,000 miles per team. Oh, like one trip?
Yeah, okay. So like what would 2,000 miles? What's like 2,000 miles from here?
Isn't that like halfway across the country?
So it would be to like not even to Seattle from here, or not even to Portland from here? Or would that be about Portland?
No. Portland's got to be further than 2,000 miles. But like probably like from here to, Kansas or something is probably 2,000 miles.
Okay. So that's like a 3-hour flight.
Yeah, something like that.
Cool. You saved these teams 3 hours on the season.
On a private plane.
On a chartered flight, dude. I don't like, it's so, the fact that they emphasized the miles is what's so funny to me. Because it's like, dude, you're taking part in the miracle of flight. I don't think miles was anybody's like real concern here.
No, it's a silly, yeah, like it's basically, oh, look at us, we're doing so much for these guys.
It's 1,000 miles to Portland.
1,000 miles to Portland. There you go. So Portland and back.
Portland and back is what you saved them over 82 games.
Over 82 games. Yeah, it's a very small reduction. I don't think they're very proud of themselves for not a lot.
Yeah, and the thing for me, okay, you cut down on travel. That's not what the teams have been asking for. I don't think travel has been the issue here. It's back-to-backs. It's how condensed your schedule is. That's why guys are like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking sit out. Like we're all getting hurt because we're playing so many games close together. Cool, you're not traveling anymore, but you're still playing at a professional athletic level 2 nights in a row. Like that takes a toll on everybody.
So let me get this straight. The season is the same amount of games over the same amount of days.
Yes. Yeah, you didn't
do much.
But the miles.
But they saved 3 hours over that whole season. Whole season they saved 3 hours.
Yeah, it's so like, what are we doing here, dude? This is such PR nonsense.
It's absolutely nuts. It's because 41,000 miles per team sounds massive.
You know what this is?
It's like you put it in. It's trick numbers.
Yeah, 100%. This is my favorite because it's the last thing on their little memo that they sent out about, the additional schedule highlights. This is the like, take Zoloft if you're experiencing depression and live a normal life today. Zoloft may have, suicidal thoughts and like all this stuff. And it's like,
may induce depression.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what this is. This is the side effects, but like, let's get it in there real quick.
Are they still doing, do we have an answer to this? Maybe we don't have an answer to it. Are they doing the little baseball series that they were doing last year, where teams would play each other twice? I
think they are. And that's the last of the instances of, with no travel between games for teams on the road have increased by 66%. So
they're doing more of those.
More,
yeah. I kind of like those.
I don't mind that.
I actually like those, and I think they could do a better job with setting those up back to back. And like, I like the idea of these teams playing 2 games. It gives you a little like, oh, last game they beat our ass, or,
totally.
like it gives you that little hint of the playoffs, because I think the more and more, the older I get, the more I watch basketball, the more I realize like the regular season is a completely different thing than the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And this would just bring a little bit of that strategy to the regular season, but without fully diluting it. So I do really like that. I think they should like double down on it. Like I think that should be like, they should be trying to have almost every game be part of a 2-game series set.
Yeah.
Leaning that way.
Part of me does love the like, you know.
See you in February.
Yeah. Like you beat our ass. I got to wait 12 weeks before we see this again. You know what I mean? And like, it's just, it builds that up even more and that tension. So when that game hits, it's like, yes, like let's go. Like I get both sides of it for sure.
Yeah.
But fucking miles, dude.
The miles.
Talking about miles on the schedule.
2,000 per team.
It's so silly.
What do you think that costs in plane gas? 3 hours. I know that plane gas is expensive.
Oh, an absurd amount. More than what anybody is making in the WNBA.
50K?
If that's what they're doing, legitimately, they should move that money over to the W. Say, hey, we cut down on travel, we cut down on cost of like chartered flights and stuff like that. Here's a fund towards chartered flights for you guys, because the W, a lot of those teams don't get chartered flights.
Why can't they use the NBA's planes, actually? Why can't they like rent them out to them for cheaper?
It's a great question. I don't think they're the NBA's planes.
Yeah, but like,
that's the whole point of a chartered flight.
But they could say like,
you made 10 billion years last year.
Yeah.
Help
like
us out a little bit.
If we're gonna allow you to have chartered flights, then you got to share them with the W.
Totally.
I don't think that's that big of an ask.
I don't disagree with you. I don't know, but I just that was a funny little last thing to throw in there. I was like, oh, you snuck in miles on us. Cool, great. Well, that's going to be it for the schedule coverage. That's going to be today's episode. Thank you all so much for joining us. We will be back next week with an all-new episode. Remember to hit subscribe wherever you're watching or listening to the show. Clayton, what are we leaving everybody with?
We are leaving everyone with a song from 1979. This is a Danish punk band called The Lost Kids. They didn't put out too much material. They put out one 7-inch that I'm going to be playing the song from. It's called Cola Freaks. The song and 7-inch is called Cola Freaks. There was a compilation record out there that has like all their recorded material that's a little easier to find. This is like in a very rare 7-inch from that time, but Cola Freaks.
Sick. Thank you all. Remember to be kind to yourselves and be kind to each other. We'll see you next week.
Thanks.
For jeg er træt af